doubt. So we are online now on YouTube?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we continue 7:11:29 in the purport. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya gives this opinion. Hariras means tita iti strinam bhartari bhavana shishyanam cha guru nityam shudranam brahmanadishu brityanam swamini tatha haribhava udirita. A woman should think of her husband as the Supreme Lord. Similarly, disciples should think of the spiritual master as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A Shudra should think of a Brahmana as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and a servant should think of his master as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this way, all of them will automatically become devotees of the Lord. In other words, by thinking in this way, all of them will become Krishna conscious. Any comments or questions here?
Well, sometimes if we consider like husband as a supreme Lord, what about if the husband is abusive? But it's kind of like connected to previous verses, right? If the husband is qualified, then, right?
Srila Prabhupada says here that a man should be an ideal servant of the Lord, and a woman should be an ideal wife like the goddess of fortune. So these are ideal standards. It's like Shishanam Saguro Nityam. Obviously, the disciple should see the guru as obviously as representative of the Supreme Lord. So that's both the ideal and kind of the default system, default setting. But of course, if the guru has a problem, then you can't just think the guru is perfect if it's obviously having some problem like that. Similar Shudra. Here it says Shudranam Brahmana Adishu. Should think of a Shudra should think of a Brahmana, but obviously we are talking about qualified Brahmana. And also, what does it mean? Obviously, the Shudra is not thinking this Brahmana is God. He should say, okay, this person represents God because as God is the master, this person is the master. As God is the friend and benefactor, this person is the friend and benefactor. He has my he has my well-being at heart. Obviously, when things change, also the mood will change. But shouldn't change capriciously just because of ego or just because of laziness or just because of rebellious spirit. There should be some solid reason. Okay. Anything else from anybody? So you want to share yourself? I stop sharing.
Okay. What was the verse again?
The next will be 30. 7:11:30.
Vrittis Sankara Jatinam Tattat Kulakrita Bhavet Achauranam Apapanam Antyajante Vasayinam. Among the mixed classes known as Sankara, those who are not thieves are known as Ante Vasai or Chandalas, dog eaters. And they also have their hereditary customs. The four principal divisions of society, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, have been defined, and now there is a description of the Antyajya, the mixed classes. Among the mixed classes, there are two divisions, Pratilomaja and Anulomaja. If a woman of a higher caste marries a man of a lower caste, the union is called Pratilo. If a woman of a lower caste, however, marries a man of a higher caste, their union is called anulo. The members of such dynasties have their traditional duties as babas, washermen, and so on. Among the Antyajas, those who are still somewhat pure in that they do not steal and are not addicted to meat eating, drinking, illicit sex, and gambling, are called Antavasai. Among people of the lower classes, intermarriage and the drinking of wine are allowed, for these people do not recognize such conduct as sinful among themselves.
Okay.
Raya, yeah. You
Any
wanna
comment or question? It's like, see, for instance, there are countries where they have a lot of grapes, and it's normal for them to drink some wine at the meals, okay? And so it's not considered sinful for them. In their culture, it's not considered sinful, and it's not really, I mean, it's allowed, meaning these are very delicate word. What does it mean are allowed? In other words, in their custom, to drink a glass of wine during meal, which doesn't really affect the consciousness, because you're drinking one glass of wine with the whole meal, so you don't get drunk. So it's not considered sinful. Even their priests do the same. It's just a drink. It's not like considered so much like sense gratification. It's a glass of wine. That's what they do. Or they eat fish. Okay, they eat fish. It's not considered sinful. Everybody eats fish. So Srila Prabhupada say, for these people, do not recognize such conduct as sinful among themselves. In other words, they may be pious in other ways, meaning they believe in God, they go to church, or they go to mosque. They're pious. They say God-fearing, but they have lower standards than the Varnashram people. I mean, even Shudra says they eat meat sometimes. No, they eat. There is this thing they go at Amavasya, they kill a goat, they eat with these mantras and so on and so forth. So it's not. It's a way to come to purity. So better to kill a goat through those procedures than to obviously eat the cow. So, in other words, there may also be a completely different reaction. Obviously, if one takes the vows, I'll never drink alcohol, and then he drinks alcohol, is one thing. Some people just grew up in a family, a little wine at lunch or something. It's not really a big deal. So, obviously, there are also, I mean, my understanding is also there will be different reactions, because they are not consciously sinning or anything. It's just a little fermented grapes. Now, of course, if they become drunkards, becomes addicted to drink every night, they drink and they become drunkard all the night, that's different. Even in their culture, even in those communities, that's not seen as positive. Obviously, if you become a drunkard, in any community in the world, a drunkard who becomes dysfunctional, then it's not appreciated, it's not considered normal.
So, Prabhu, as per Shastras, so are they considered sinful or not? Because they are drinking wine with their meal, or maybe eating fish and all, because they do not fall in the four varnas, and like you said, they are even lower than Shudras.
Well, certainly is not as considered not as sinful as somebody who is expected not to drink, because they don't know. You're born in the West somewhere. You eat fish, you eat meat, you drink wine. It's not considered a sin. They also have certain morals, Like they also consider, say, adultery is a sin or violence is a sin. It's not that anything goes. Like here it says, they also have the hereditary custom. Let's see the uh, Kula Krita. See, Kula Krita, family tradition. They have their family tradition. So obviously they are sinful in the sense, in what you call, in comparison to people who don't do that, they are sinful. Therefore, Shukadeva Goswami says, Kirata Hunandra Pulinda Pulkasha Abhira Shumba Yavana Kasadaya Yenecha Papa sin Yenecha Papa Yada Pashaya Shaya Shaya Shudhyanti Tasmai Pravaishnave Namaha. So they are, we could say, they are fallen, but they're not considered specially sinful. It's like they have just lower class habit, and there is some sin, but my understanding is not as sinful as those who know that is sinful, like that.
It's not offensive, right? It may be a little sinful, but not offensive,
May
because
not be offensive because they don't know, they're not trained to see this as wrong.
yeah.
At the same time, like
Yeah,
for instance, even
bec-
in Christianity, there are some monks who are vegetarian. So they understand. Some people, very few people, some are more subtle and they understand. Okay, eating meat. In fact, it's also in the Bible. For instance, Saint Paul. See, the Bible has got different parts: Old Testament, New Testament. Then there are the letters of Paul, and Paul says it's not good to eat meat or drink wine. So he says, but how, see, ultimately it's up to Krishna how seriously he takes it. But it may not, I don't know, that's really up to Krishna, because he has to give the karma, he has to give the consequences. But they
yeah,
also but my point, I think what is also saying here is, okay, they may be fallen, they may be a kind of outside Varnashram, but they also have their moral standards. It's not that they're not what you call completely wild. In fact, some society are very strict. What they should do, what they should not do. There is this rule. There's that. Or you go to church at this time, that for this celebration, for this saint, for this, they have a very, we could say, some of them, they have very strict religious life, but it's the religious life of the militias or like that.
yeah, because I have one American friend and she's really a very nice lady. She's very religious. Every Friday she goes to church. But we were talking about meal and all. Then she told me when she goes to church, they have a potluck. So she eat meat and all. She take it to church and all. So yeah.
Well, like for instance, I remember now, I didn't I didn't read it, but I heard that one disciple, she was Jewish, and she asked Srila Prabhupada. Now, this is what I heard, so I'm not 100% sure. I didn't read it, okay? But somebody, so this girl, this disciple asked Srila Prabhupada, my grandfather is very, very strict Jew. He follows all the rules. And there are many, 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 many rules. They have food which is, they call it kosher. You can eat. Some food you cannot eat, and so on and so forth. And so he said, what will happen to him? And I heard that Srila Prabhupada said he will go to the heavenly planets. In other words, he might be eating meat, no, but in a religious way, according to his tradition, according to his Kula Krita. And so, like here it says, they're not thieves. He might have been very honest, very, very faithful to the family, very responsible, very religious. And in his culture, there may be some meat eating and this and that, but because he was very strict, he would be elevated according to their system. So, yeah. But of course, these verses are difficult to understand in one sense because they're very, very broad, you know? It just says, basically it says that, okay, also mixed caste have their tradition, tat tat kula krita bhavit, and if they are not thieves, in other words, they're not criminals. In every community, there is the concept of criminal, okay? Professional thieves, murderers, everywhere in the world, they're considered criminals, right? There's no civilized person who say, oh, it's a murder, it's okay. So, and so, but there are so many, what do you call, so many varieties of situation. Anyway.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. We go next. Shirade, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah, I am here, but I need you to screen share. My computer went off. I need to charge it for a few minutes and then it will turn on.
Oh, I see. Okay, so next. Praya svabhava vihito nrinam dharmo yuge yuge veda drigbihi smrito rajan prityacheha chasharma krit. My dear king, remember this is Narada Muni speaking to you, Yudhishthira Maharaj. My dear king, Brahmanas, well conversant in Vedic knowledge, have given their verdict that in every age, yuga, the conduct of different sections of people, according to their material modes of nature, is auspicious both in this life and after death. Purport Shri Prabhupada. In Bhagavad Gita 335, it is said, Shreya Swadharma viguna paradharma svanustitaha. It is far better to discharge one prescribed duties, even though they may be faulty, than another's duties. The antyajas, the men of the lower classes, are accustomed to stealing, drinking, illicit sex, but that is not considered sinful. For example, if a tiger kills a man, this is not sinful. But if a man kills another man, this is considered sinful. The killer is hanged. What is a daily affair among the animals is a sinful act in human society. Thus, according to the symptoms of higher and lower sections of society, there are different varieties of occupational duties. According to the experts in Vedic knowledge, these duties are prescribed in terms of the age concerned. So here, see, again, you can see the Sanskrit, praya, generally, swabhava vihita, prescribed according to one's material modes of nature, to one's one acquired nature, swabhava, conditioning. So nrinam dharma yuge yuge, in every age, there are different times, right? I mean, Kali Yuga is one thing, Dwapar Yuga is another thing. Veda Drigbir, those who know the Vedas, they recognize that, okay, they do their duty, they do their dharma, is good for them. Even if their dharma, according to Vedic knowledge, it's a lower dharma, but this still is good. Still is good. Something for which a Brahmana will go to hell, another person, other parts of the world, another time, in fact, is still advancing. It's like let's say 200 years ago in America or in Europe, these Christians, they don't know anything about Krishna. They don't know anything about Vedas and anything. They have the Bible, they have their priests, and their priest tells them to do certain thing, and they do it. Okay, there is some meat, there may be some alcoholic beverage. They eat eggs, they eat fish, but it's not considered sinful in their culture. So my understanding is they say they will also advance. They will also advance. It's like saying, and a healthy man has to walk normal, right? His legs work, so it's just one step after another, tuck, 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 moves. Now, a man, say, who doesn't have one leg, or the legs don't work. So if he has one leg, if he doesn't have one leg, he will go by crutches. So it's not ideal, but he will also move. They will also move. So you cannot say, well, he has no legs, so he cannot move. No, he's moving at his own pace. So people born in different places, and if they are religious according to their tradition, then they also advance. That's my understanding.
And this principle is applicable on so many levels, actually. Even in Krishna consciousness, everybody, when we try to do our best, Krishna knows when it's best. Like somebody who's a sannyasi, for him, all the things that he does, he cannot expect a housewife and a new mother to be doing those things, But it doesn't mean that she's not progressing. I think, in fact, your analogy, that's applicable if somebody's a devotee, non-devotee. But I think within devotion, it's not even like that. It's like, okay, well, like how much time does it take to cook moong dal, and how much time does it how much time does it take to cook tomatoes? So sometimes some devotees, like I said, new mother or something like that, they may not have to do much in quantity wise, but their quality of devotion and surrender itself can actually liberate them, but because they are trying to do their best. So uh, I think this principle is very, very broad-minded principle about everybody trying to do their best, and everybody is moving. Everybody is moving. According to us, they may not be moving, they may not be running, but maybe somebody who has excellent legs, but he's not even making an effort. There is some guy who is lame, and but he's struggling to move. The struggle itself is a huge thing. I mean, even in my personal life, I feel like that sometimes there's periods of struggle. I may not be inspired. I may not be able to like do things the way I generally prefer or something. But even in that struggle, there is growth. And somebody who may be flourishing and achieving things, they may not really be even progressing if the intention is not to please the Lord. Samsiddhir haritoshanam. Otherwise, it becomes shrama eva hi kevalam. If we are just, it becomes a useless waste of time. Yeah, thank you. I'm able to share screen now if you need. This is which is it 32 or 31?
Well, we just did the 31.
Okay, 32. I can screen share. Okay. Somebody likes to read continue the reading?
Your screen is not visible, Mataji.
Really?
Yeah.
It's showing that I'm sharing screen. What should I do?
I can read from my phone in the meantime, Mataji.
Just let me know if you're able to see my screen now.
No, not yet.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. To me, it shows that it's screen sharing.
It's the profile picture showing.
And now?
Oh,
I don't know. Somehow I don't know what.
I can read in the meantime. Should
Okay,
I?
right.
Ritaya Swabhava Kritaya Vardhamana Swa Karma Krit Hidva Swabhava Jam Karma Sanir Nirgutam Iyat. Translation. If one acts in his profession according to his position in the modes of nature and gradually gives up these activities, he attains Niskarma stage. Purport. If one gradually gives up his hereditary customs and duties and tries to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his natural position, he is gradually able to become free from these activities, and he attains the stage of Niskarma, freedom from material desires. So if we give up our customs and duties, we can become free from material desires. But that's very difficult to
Yeah, very
do.
difficult.
So what does exactly it mean by to give up your custom and duties? Because unless one is pure, he can't give up his custom, his duties, whatever his prescribed
That's
duties
true.
are.
I think it means conditioning, right? Cultural conditionings and
Well, Srila Prabhupada say, if one gradually gives up his hereditary customs, in other words, okay, somebody is born in the West, they eat fish, they eat meat, they drink wine at meals, and tries to serve the Supreme Personality of God in his natural position, is gradually able to become free from this activity, like that. I mean, there is an effort. Like I said before, there are some monks, even in Christianity, who become vegetarian. So they understand that, okay, to purify oneself, one should not indulge in these things. So they gradually advance. Obviously, they advance more than, or they don't get married. They understand the principle of renunciation. Now, it says gradually, right? What gradually means will depend on each person. But basically, people can purify themselves, become more detached from being absorbed just in material activity to do more spiritual things. So that's in every culture. But again, these are general verses. They have different application, different circumstances.
I still can't see my screen.
No, Mataji.
Okay, I can share. See, when I try to share, they say this will stop other screen sharing. So there must be some glitch. Okay,
Ah,
no, not to worry. Okay. So next. Upyamanamuhu swayam nirviryatam yat nakalpate punha sudhyay uptam bijam shanashati evam kamashayam chittam kamanam atisevaya virajita yatarajan agnivat kamabindubi. My dear king, if an agricultural field is cultivated again and again, the power of its productions decreases, and whatever seeds are sown there are lost, just as drops of ghee on a fire never extinguish the fire, but the flood of ghee will. Similarly, overindulgence in lusty desire mitigates such desires entirely. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. If one continuously sprinkles a drop of ghee on a fire, the fire will not be extinguished. But if one suddenly puts a lump of ghee on a fire, the fire may possibly be extinguished entirely. Similarly, those who are too sinful and have thus been born in the lower classes are allowed to enjoy sinful activities fully, for thus there is a chance that these activities will become detestable to them, and they will get the opportunity to be purified. Now, this is a very delicate issue, because here it says, Srila Prabhupada used the tentative expression. They say, look, if they completely enjoy sinful activity, there is a chance that these activities will become detestable. In other words, they get, okay, enough, I got enough. Because remember, these people are sinful, and therefore they have been born in lower classes. So it says, but if they are allowed to do completely without control of the senses and everything, so this is for the lower classes. It's not for everybody. It's not for brahmanas. It's not for Gurukul boys. It's not for chaste women. It's just for people. They're sinful. That's why they're born in certain place where there's sinful activities. Okay? So if they fully experience that, there is a chance. There is a chance that these activities will become detestable to them. They kind of, it seems to say, okay, they got enough, no? And in fact, I mean, you could see like certain things that just 50 years ago were very attractive. They become less and less attractive, like smoking. There was much more smoking in the world before, because it was like a cool thing. In many places, smoking now is considered low class. So if you smoke, you still smoke, like that. But maybe 50 years ago was very cool to smoke. In fact, all the movies, the stars who smoke, and nowadays they're even they're very careful to even put somebody smoking in a movie. For instance, the Avatar movie, you might have heard, maybe you have seen the Avatar movie. I think they gave PG-13 rating, means parental guidance, 13 years old, just because one person smoked in that. Just because one character was smoking. So even sex, there are researchers. I was just reading this verse before, and there are, can you see this Psychology Today? Can you see this?
Yes, Prabhu.
So there are many, if you Google and you see why people have less sex today, there are many theories why today's teens are having so much sex, so much less sex, because less curious, less interested in courting. There are many reasons. Like if this is my Google, I Google people have less sex today, because I already knew. So see, millennials and now Gen Zers are having less sex with fewer partners than their parents and parents' generations did. In other words, parents, grandparents, sex had this halo of mystery or attractiveness or sinfulness, right? Then there was the sexual revolution of the 60s. No, free sex, free love, and this and that. And people were very enthusiastic in having sex because they thought, wow, this is really liberation. We can have sex like that. But then now, after 50 years, people have less sex. They're just, and you can see all these articles.
Isn't that a good thing?
Yeah, this is confirms what Narada Muni is saying. See, all this 7 reasons why young people are having less sex, why today's teens are having so much less sex, young people are having less sex than their parents, why so many people are having less sex. So it's the world, the scholars, psychologists, and so on. They're seeing people have less sex because sex, kind of, in one sense, it's much less attractive because it's so available. It's so available. It's so sometimes women are more available than before. Say 100 years ago, you cannot just go in a bar and pick up a woman. You you got to the courtship and the parents protect her and this and that. But nowadays it's like men and women mix like that. So But let's remember, Srila Prabhupada said it may happen that they become detached because the thing becomes less, what do you call, less attractive. Even meat. There are so many vegans now. So many people think it's low class to eat meat. Millions of people just don't want to have anything to do with meat, and they don't want to have anything with smoke. And sex is like they have much, much less sex for different reasons. But one reason I believe is also because sex has lost their that mystique, that attractiveness, the mystery. It's not mystery. Now people start watching porn when they are 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old. There's nothing to discover anymore. Before was all, oh, it's a sinful and it's mysterious and this and that, you know. But now it's like you can see anything anywhere. So I'm just saying this. Obviously, there is the danger that somebody becomes totally addicted, loses completely their mind. But what Narada Muni says here, and Srila Prabhupada confirms, that, okay, they experience the kind of, okay, we got it, okay, it's not a big deal. But it's a chance, it's not the rule. There is a chance that these activities will become detestable to them, and they will get the opportunity to be purified. Even meat, frankly speaking, in agricultural societies all over the world, eating meat was not normal. You just eat meat maybe once a week, right? You know, you kill the because you have to kill the animals. You don't just go and buy in the butcher shop. So you have to kill the chicken or the lamb. It's something more. Okay, there is some sort of specialness to it. But in the last 50 or 100 years, in the West, and you can eat meat, you know, just go to the butcher shop, supermarket. There are so many meats. There's nothing special in eating meat. You can eat meat if you have the money. You can eat meat every day, twice a day, thrice a day. So it seems really to confirm this thing that when people indulge in this type of things, because they don't give happiness. Obviously, smoking doesn't give happiness, sex doesn't give happiness, meat doesn't give happiness. Then they also realize slowly that it's bad for you in many ways. It's bad for you. Sex, you can get so many bad diseases, venereal disease, AIDS. People know because smoking, you get cancer. Meat, there's so many bad things in meat. So somehow people kind of gradually get over these type of things.
In fact, I was thinking how the Western people, those people that have more access to everything that you just mentioned, all the sinful activities, they, especially if they are a little bit like advanced souls or whatever you call it, like these people get very tired. They're not attracted, they're not attracted to that kind of sinful low class life or low class habits. In fact, a lot of Western people, they're becoming very much into yoga and conscious living and clean life and minimalistic and not hoarding, not being greedy, not running after money. And a lot of people are like giving up jobs and like starting to live more simple. A lot of the shifts are happening. In fact, it is all because of Mahaprabhu's movement, because we think ISKCON has a monopoly over Mahaprabhu's energy, but it's not like that. Actually, the vibration of Mahaprabhu's presence on this earth is affecting the consciousness of so many living entities who are vibrating on a little higher level. And in fact, I think it's like with Indian people, like people who are from Indian origin, because things are like so much restriction, so much constraint, you can't do that, and how women are treated and this and that. There is still, Indians are still running after the West, and they want to go to America, and they want to like go, like there's a lot of like this dream to want that freedom and to want to like explore and experience modern sense gratificatory thing.
Yeah,
As a cultural thing.
sometimes India is like 50 years behind. in many
Yeah,
ways.
that's what I mean to say. That's what I mean to say. They're still behind because they think that there's something there shimmering like that. Like, for example, I was discussing with a friend of mine about, like, she's like Russian, and but she's a half American. So she doesn't want to push her child with academic things. Study, study, study. She said that's a very Indian thing, and I've seen enough. I don't want to do that to my kid. I just want her to be a good devotee. I don't care about her scores and all that. I just want her to be educated and devotee. And so we were discussing, even in that way, like Indian culture is a little bit behind in looking forward to being, utilizing this energy of spirituality. And yeah, I was just thinking this is a huge broad topic, but just a comment here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Mataji here also same thing with Indians, because I think we carry that in our blood to just study and nothing else. So
Money, study, money,
study and money, yeah, yes. Because I think because in India we don't have that many resources and all, so that's why we are still running after
we're a
that.
little behind, actually. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
true.
yes.
Conventional, like a lot of people are like moving into higher dimensions of lifestyle, and then Indians are getting stuck with the Western cultural thing and the rut, the mouse trap, what is it called, the wheel? What wheel is it called? Like, you keep doing the same thing over and over again.
The hamster wheel.
Hamster wheel. Yeah.
Okay, should we move on?
Yep. Hi,
Yes.
Krishna, Taruni, Radha. Nice to see you. Sorry.
Oh God,
Yes.
yeah, Hare Krishna. Very good question. I was thinking the class starts at 8:30. It's 8 o'clock. So I'll join at 8.
Yasya lakshanam proktam pumsavarna bivyanjakam yadanyatrapi drishyeta tatenaiva vinirdishet. So this is a very important verse Srila Prabhupada mentioned many times, because it's a key to Gaudiya Vaishnavism. If one shows the symptoms of being a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra, as described above, even if he has appeared in a different class, it should be accepted according to those symptoms of classification. Purport Srila Prabhupada. Herein is this clearly stated by Narada Muni that one should not be accepted as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra according to birth. For although this is going on now, it is not accepted by the Shastra. As said in Bhagavad Gita 4.13, Chaturvanya Mayashista Guna Karma Vibhaga Shaha. Thus the four divisions of society, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, are to be ascertained according to qualities and activities. If one was born in a Brahmana family, has acquired a Brahminical qualification, he is to be accepted as a Brahmana. Otherwise, he should be considered Brahmabandhu. Similarly, if a Shudra acquires the qualities of a Brahmana, although was born in a Shudra family, he is not a Shudra, because he has developed the qualities of a Brahmana. He should be accepted as a Brahmana. The Krishna consciousness movement is meant to develop these Brahminical qualities, regardless of the community in which one was born. If one develops the quality of a Brahmana, it should be accepted as a Brahmana, and it then may be offered the order of sannyasa. Unless one is qualified in terms of the Brahminical symptoms, one cannot take sannyasa. In designating a person a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, birth is not the essential symptom. This understanding is very important. Herein, Narada Muni distinctly says that one may be accepted according to the caste of his birth, if he has the corresponding qualifications, but otherwise he should not. So let's repeat. One may be accepted according to the caste of his birth if he has the corresponding qualifications, but otherwise he should not. One who has attained the qualifications of a Brahmana, regardless of where he was born, should be accepted as a Brahmana. Similarly, if one has developed the qualities of a Shudra or Chandala, regardless of where he was born, he should be accepted in terms of those symptoms. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the 7th canto, 11th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Perfect Society for Social Classes. Okay. Srila Prabhupada quotes this Bengali saying that Shuchi hoy, Muchi hoy, Shuchi hoy, Jadi Krishna bhaje, Suchi hoy, Muchi hoy, Jadi Krishna tyaje. It's like the summary. Muchi means cobbler generally, because cobbler traditionally to make shoes, they deal with corpses, carcasses of animals, cows. They take this corpse, they cut the skin, they make the shoes and other things. So it's considered low class. It's mochi, it's dirty, definitely. You deal with corpses. So, but mochi hoy, shuchi hoy. Shuchi means brahmana, means clean. So if one worship Krishna, maybe a cobbler, but it can become a brahmana. But if a brahmana, Jadi Krishna Tyaji, gives up Krishna consciousness, the culture of bhakti, then Suchioi, Muchioi, it becomes Muchi. And this kind of, I mean, in India, it's still very much, the caste is the jati, the family, is so much. In the West, it's kind of obvious because, I mean, say you have a kid, the parents are university professors, okay? Very, very, very learned, very respectable, scholarly, both the mother and the father, they are professors. But obviously, everybody understands that if the child doesn't go to school, it becomes a hippie or something, then obviously you don't call him professor. It's just obvious. But because this degradation of Varnashram, people very much in India say, oh, Brahmana, but Brahmana means Brahmajanati Brahmana, and there are certain standards. And now it becomes like an empty ritual. The guy goes to IIT, which is a school for Shudras, for technologists, and they say, no, I'm a Brahmana. No, or they do this Upanayana, but it's just a ritual, it's just a social, often it's just a ritual. The guy he doesn't go to Gurukul, he doesn't have a guru, it's not really doing much spiritually, but he takes the Upanayana, he takes the Gayatri mantra, but doesn't mean much, doesn't really mean much. And so on, and so on. So this purport is very clear, very clear. Obviously, at the same time, if one is born in a Brahmin family and this Brahmin were following, definitely there is a very good chance that they are enlightened. Now they see the father doing puja, they have shalagrams, they may go to the temple. So obviously it's a chance. So better to be born in a spiritual family than in a very low class family. They eat chicken or something all day. Some family, they're still very strictly vegetarian and all of that. But obviously if one stops doing those things, then you can't, or you're not trained, or you're not qualified. There was a class I was listening a few days ago. Srila Prabhupada says, you see, there are two things. It was saying guna and karma. One, you need to have the qualification, and one, you also have to have the practice. And he was giving the analogy of a lawyer. First of all, you need to have the characteristic, the guna, the qualities. You have to study law, okay? That's like the guna. You have studied law, you have your degree. But then you also have to practice as a lawyer. So some people have a law degree, but they don't practice. Like my father, he had a PhD in political science, but he was never working as a diplomat or as a professor. He worked in business. So, yeah, he has the qualification, the guna of somebody who studied political science, but he doesn't have the karma. He was doing something else, completely something else. So similarly, this analogy of Srila Prabhupada, lawyer. Okay, you have the law degree, but then you have to practice. Otherwise, people will not come to you. You're not really a lawyer. If you're not practicing as a lawyer, you only have a degree, you're not really a lawyer. So you need to guna and karma. So if somebody say, oh no, I'm a Brahmana, but then he's just a computer programmer, he just writes codes for somebody, he gets hired. It's not a Brahmana, obviously. That's not a Brahmana work, it's a Shudra work. So anyway, this is something that in ISKCON, I hope it's understood, but in India still is very much, it's many people. Of course, there are many people in India. There are more than 1 billion people, so everybody's different levels. And this is because the people started considering themselves qualified without the symptoms, just by birth. Imagine the disaster if the children of surgeons start thinking I'm a surgeon and they start cutting off people. No, you got to go to school. Yes, maybe you have more chances to become a surgeon if also your father is a surgeon, but doesn't make you a surgeon. Anyway, question, comment. We have 3-4 minutes. We finished this chapter today. Any question or
That's very interesting to become aware that one might have
sorry,
said something
it's
like
not clear. It's not clear. The
Oh,
voice is
sorry.
try
Can you hear
again.
me now? Hear me now?
Is better, yes.
Yeah. I was just saying, it is very interesting to note that how beautifully explained. A person might have studied something, but then they might not have the karma to execute it. So it's not just the guna, but then you also need to have the karma to be able to execute what you've learned. That was very interesting. I had never heard that before, so very nice. Thank you.
Yeah, because what's a Brahmana? These are occupations. It's not just a honorary title. And like even a Boy Scout, okay? You may become a Boy Scout, but then if you stop being a Boy Scout, you're no more a Boy Scout, right? You may say, I was a Boy Scout, but you're not now. So similarly, even say a kid is born in a nice Brahmana family and he starts helping with the puja, he takes Upanaya, but then he goes to IIT or some other school, and then he becomes a computer programmer, and then he works for some company, some corporation. Where is the karma? He may even have some guna, okay? He may still be clean, he may still be nice person, religious somewhat, but there is no karma. So you cannot just say it's a Brahman. Technically, you follow. Where is the karma? You're not doing the Brahmana job, so maybe you have the Brahmana quality still, you have because that's your nature, but you're not a Brahmana because you're not doing a Brahmana job.
That's like a lot of people.
Huh?
That's like a lot of people. They studied so many things, but they're not doing it. Or somebody may have that ability, but they're not actually practicing. That's why the word practicing is important.
And frankly, even within ISKCON, there are some devotees take second initiation, but you can get them to serve on the altar.
Right.
I know sometimes there are, maybe especially, I don't know, especially in the West, okay? But sometimes there are devotees there, because there are deities, there are few devotees who's doing the worship. So sometimes the guru, not the temple president, please, Maharaj, give the second initiation to these people so they can help. Because sometimes it's really a crisis. I know temples, the deities don't even get lunch. They don't get lunch, they don't get Rajaboga. There's nobody to cook, nobody to offer. So anyway, so they say, okay, please take a sacred initiation, but then they take sacred initiation and they'll never go to the altar. They'll just either they're lazy or I don't know. They're just there's not their nature. You know, you may have a they may have they may have the Brahmin thread, but they're not really Brahmanas. You know? They're Vaishnavas, so we respect Vaishnavas. They're chanting Hare Krishna. Hopefully, they're chanting the rounds. Hopefully, they follow the regulatory principles. But you know, they're really not so developed. Let's say maybe later on they'll become better. Who knows? Anyway, time is up. Unless there is some final comment by anybody.
I had just this one question. It's not like we have to look down on any of if a person is like Shudra, if a person is like say working under somebody like a Shudra type of a job, right? We don't have to look down on them when we compare that person to a person who's Brahmanically initiated and they're serving. We should not do that, right? We just say that this is the quality, this is the guna and karma.
Well, depends
Right,
what you mean. Depends what you mean by looking down. It's like if you look at your body, you look at your legs, you're looking down, right? I mean, literally. If you look at your legs, you're looking down, right? Now, looking down is not that mean you hate your legs. In fact, I think we all have experience, if not with the hurt. I mean, maybe not everybody has experience, but for instance, I have an experience. Sometimes you get these boils in India, especially mango time. You eat a lot of mangoes, you get this boil. Once I had the boil in my foot and I could hardly walk. I had to walk with a stick. I was only 20 years old, but I could not walk without a stick because my foot was having this boil, was very painful. So depends very much what you mean by looking down. Obviously, yes, we should not disparage people, and the Shudras, of course, the vast majority are Shudras. Even in Vedic times, the vast majority of people are Shudras. Brahmanas are very small, Kshatriyas very small, Vaishya a little more, but then most people are Shudras. They work in the fields, they work with, they help the Vaishyas with the cows, and they carpenters, potters, and all those, servants, maidservants, soldiers, they're all Shudras. So, yes, we shouldn't look down on them, meaning, because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, everybody can reach perfection by doing what they do. So we shouldn't take them, we should insult them or disparage them or think them, we shouldn't discriminate against them. But at the same time, obviously, we need to be realistic. We need to be realistic. Okay, this is a person who is good for tending buffaloes. Is not good for teaching Sanskrit. So if you want to learn Sanskrit, you don't go to the one who tends buffaloes. You go to somebody who studies Sanskrit. Not because you hate the one who tends buffaloes, but because it's just not qualified. The second aspect is that somebody who works as a Shudra, but he says, I'm a Brahmana, then you can say, sir, you're not a Brahmana. You may be a Brahmana in quality or by family or by maybe a little training, you got a little training, but now you are a Shudra because you're working for somebody else. Which doesn't mean we hate you, but you should understand. So, yeah, I agree. We should not look down on people in the sense that we should not exploit people. We should always try to help people advance. We should appreciate what they do for society. They do very precious things, like photographers. Okay, it's just an art. It's just a Shudra job. But we all like photographies. Of course, nowadays everybody takes photography because everybody has a what do you call a phone and a camera. Okay, but if somebody is a very good photographer. That's his job. It's a Shudra job. It's an art, okay? But we all love photographies, or we all love music, right? So somebody just does music. That's kind of a Shudra job. But we all love what they do. No, we all love music. We all love photography. We all love art. Like just today, my wife inaugurated this work at the Maya Mari. She restored the holy place, and she did this what Balaram. And there's a beautiful thing when you come to Mayapur, you'll see Goranga Prema Swami Maharaj inaugurated the thing that my wife did. And this painters is a Shudra, but there's something beautiful that can really help everybody think of Krishna. So yes, 100% we should not look down. At the same time, we should understand also people limit that, okay, very nice. Just like the people built our house. I mean, we appreciate the painters and bricklayers and everything. We appreciate, but at the same time, we understand they're not, you cannot take them as something that they are not. Does it address your question?
Yes, Prabhu.
And in fact, Krishna's prayers explain in Bhagavad Gita. First of all, everybody is fragment. Krishna, Srila Prabhupada even say everybody is a small Krishna. So we should see, especially in the human form, we should see everybody, even animals, plants, but at least the human form we should see. In fact, Krishna says, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavyastini Shuni Chavas Vakicha Pandita Samadarshina. That the Pandit sees everybody equally. But the fact that he sees the elephant and the cow and the dog eater as equal doesn't mean that he puts the cow in the deity kitchen, or he puts the chandala on the altar. No, he respects that. He respects everyone. He sees these are parts of Krishna, but obviously engage them in different ways. And Krishna says many times in Bhagavad Gita, they sing same way, like he says the yogi, by his own experiences, sees everybody the same, because they see everybody as brothers and sisters. So yes, both things are there. Respect, honor everybody. Every body is the house of God, of Paramatma, and the soul and super soul. At the same time, for the organization of society, we need to be practical and realistic. Who can be a leader, who can be a follower, and so on. Because just saying, oh, everybody's a leader, doesn't solve the problem. Somebody are not leaders, somebody are followers. Or they may be leaders in their own very, very limited field. Okay, maybe very good in painting, fine. It's a leader in that area. Very good musician, okay, fine. Okay, any other comment? Okay, so we stop here. Okay, Shirade?
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Hare Krishna.
Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Jai. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Very good.